The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet. Summary. The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet is set during the Franco-Prussian War. The story is narrated by Franz, a young boy from Alsace. He arrives at school to find it unusually quiet and learns from his teacher, M. Hamel, that this is their last French lesson due to a new decree mandating the teaching of German. M. Hamel speaks passionately about the beauty of the French language and the importance of preserving one's heritage. The villagers, who attend the lesson in support, share a sense of loss and regret. The story emphasizes the significance of cultural identity and the impact of war on ordinary lives. About the author. Alphonse Daudet, 1840–1897, was a French novelist, short story writer, and playwright known for his vivid and emotional storytelling. Born in Nimes, France, Daudet moved to Paris where he began his literary career. His work often reflects his Provençal roots and includes themes of rural life and contemporary society. Daudet's most famous works include Lettres de mon moulin, Letters from my windmill, and Tartarin de Tarascon. He is celebrated for his ability to capture the essence of French provincial life with warmth and humor. Despite suffering from syphilis, which affected his later years, Daudet remained a prolific writer until his death. Question 1. Read the extracts and answer the questions. Extract 1. What a thunderclap these words were to me. Question 1. What does these words refer to? Answer. These words refer to the announcement made by M. Hamel that this would be the last French lesson, as orders had come from Berlin that only German would be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. Question 2. How was this piece of information conveyed to everyone? Answer. This information was conveyed to everyone by M. Hamel in a grave and gentle tone during the French class. He addressed the students and villagers, explaining the new orders from Berlin and the implications for their education and culture. Question 3. What effect did these words have on Franz? Answer. These words shocked and saddened Franz. He felt a deep sense of regret and guilt for not taking his French lessons seriously. He realized the importance of his language and felt a strong emotional connection to his teacher, M. Hamel, and his native tongue. Extract 2. Don't go so fast, you'll get to your school in plenty of time. Question 1. Who said these words and to whom? Answer. These words were said by Wachter, the blacksmith, to Franz. Question 2. Why was the narrator hurrying to school? Answer. The narrator, Franz, was hurrying to school because he was late and was afraid of being scolded by M. Hamel, his teacher. He was also anxious because M. Hamel had announced a test on participles. Question 3. How was the narrator hoping to get into the classroom? Why was he not able to do so? Answer. The narrator was hoping to slip quietly into the classroom without being noticed, despite being late. He was not able to do so because, when he arrived, he found the classroom unusually quiet and noticed that the villagers were seated at the back of the room. This unusual scene made him nervous and he had to enter the classroom under the watchful eyes of everyone present. Answer the following questions in 3 to 4 sentences. Question A. Why did some elderly people occupy the back benches? Answer. The elderly people occupied the last benches to show their gratitude, and it was their way of thanking their master for his 40 years of faithful service and showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. Question B. What was Franz expected to be prepared with for the school that day? Answer. M. Hamel was going to question the students on participles that day. Thus, Franz was expected to be prepared with participles which he considered to be dreadful. Question C. What did Franz notice that was unusual about the school that day? Answer. Usually, when school began, there was a lot of commotion with the sound of opening and closing of desks, lessons repeated in unison, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. But, unlike any other day, that day was as quiet as Sunday morning. He noticed that his classmates were already in their places and M. Hamel walking up and down with his iron ruler under his arm. Question D. Why does M. Hamel reproach himself for his students' unsatisfactory progress in studies? Answer. M. Hamel reproaches himself for his students' unsatisfactory progress as he would often ask them to water his flowers in the garden instead of making them study, and also would give them a holiday if he wanted to go fishing. Question E. What showed M. Hamel's love for the French language? Answer. M. Hamel had been teaching French for 40 years in the same school. At the end of his last lesson, he turned towards the board and wrote as large as he could, "Vive la France," which means "Long live France." This showed his love for the French language. Question F. How did M. Hamel say farewell to his students and the people of the town? Answer. As soon as the church clock struck 12, M. Hamel stood up from his chair, looking very pale and sad. He wanted to say something to his students and all the people sitting there. However, he was overwhelmed and could not say anything. Instead, he turned to the blackboard and wrote with a piece of chalk "Vive la France" as big as he could. Then, he stopped, leaned his head against the wall and gestured to everyone with his hand to leave. Answer the following questions briefly. Question A. Describe how regretful M. Hamel and the villagers are for having neglected their native language, French. Answer. M. Hamel was in deep regret because he did not ask his students to learn French diligently. Instead, at times, he used to send his students to water his flowers instead of teaching them French. Also, he simply gave them a holiday whenever he wanted to go fishing. The villagers also regretted not sending their children to school and instead bringing them to farms instead of teaching them the French language. Question B. Justify the title "The Last Lesson." Answer. The prose has been appropriately named "The Last Lesson" as the story revolves around a French master M. Hamel who is conducting his last French lesson. The teacher M. Hamel reproaches himself for neglecting the language. Even Franz realizes his irresponsibility towards learning their national language. The village men also deeply regret their negligence towards teaching their children French. Thus, the last lesson proves to be an eye-opener for the teacher, students, and their parents. They realize the importance of their national language only after the last lesson. Question C. What message does the story "The Last Lesson" carry? How is it relevant today? Answer. The story "The Last Lesson" is about the French master M. Hamel who reproaches himself for his negligence towards the French language. It gives a very important message that is relevant in today's world. It tells us about respecting our native language and not neglecting it. Our native language is a symbol of our culture, so we should never neglect it. In today's world, many people are following Western culture. Amongst this, the last lesson carries a following Western, beautiful and relevant message which is an eye-opener for everybody in today's world. HOTS, Higher Order Thinking Skill. Question A. When was the last lesson set? Answer. The last lesson was set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia led by Bismarck. Question B. What did the narrator see when he passed the town hall? Answer. When the narrator passed the town hall, he saw that there was a crowd standing near the bulletin board. For the past 2 years, all the bad news had come from the bulletin board. He also saw Wachter the blacksmith reading the bulletin board. Question C. Whom did the narrator encounter near the bulletin board? Answer. The narrator encountered Wachter, the blacksmith, near the bulletin board. He was there with his apprentice, reading the bulletin. Question D. What did M. Hamel speak about the French language? Answer. M. Hamel spoke about the French language, saying that French was the most beautiful language in the world. It is clearest and the most logical, and that it should be guarded and never forgotten by them as it was their national language. Question E. After the grammar lesson, what did M. Hamel ask the students to do? Answer. After the lesson in grammar, M. Hamel gave the students a lesson in writing. Since it was their last French lesson, M. Hamel had bought new copies for the students which were written in beautiful round handwriting.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more updates.